Stay close to me, baby. When the lights go down, ooh, stay close to me, darling. I see that fire in your eyes.
Hello, I'm Scavo. I'm brand ambassador for Chef and Sommelier Revelap range. I'm a sommelier consultant. I'm Romanian and I work in France. Best sommelier of Romania 2018. Twice third sommelier of Europe 2017 and 13, just to mention some of my prizes. Chef and Sommelier is a leader on the glassware and tableware market. They're based in France. They've always been based and produce glasses and tableware in France, in Arc, whereas the name comes, Arc, and Chef and Sommelier is the name of the specific fine dining brand. I'm a brand ambassador for the Revelap range since 2014. Range which was launched in this year, 2014, and developed especially for sommelier and fine dining purposes. So these are the two shapes of the Revelap collection. You have here the soft glass and the intense glass. So actually what is interesting about this range is that it has only two shapes that are declined on numerous versions of capacities, starting from 30 centiliter up to 55 centiliters. This covers a whole range of wines. It is meant to be a universal range for glasses, so that a restaurant, a wine bar, sommelier can choose to work with a whole range for all his selection of wines, even spirits and other beverages. The range also contains non-stem glasses. These are the classic stem glasses. And we also have the same chalices but without a stem. They are purposed for water, for some spirits, even tasting cocktails, other beverages in a more convivial style, or even for chefs that want to create verrines and other creations in a glass. So let's start with a soft glass. This is the 40 centiliter capacity. It is an universal glass which can be used both for whites, but more medium plus to elevated bodied whites, as well as for reds, more on the range of medium plus bodied reds. The chalice is long. What's interesting is the aromatic chamber is also long and provides more the fine and more volatile aromas, which are characteristic of younger, fresher, let's say medium to medium plus bodied wines at a maximum. I've chosen to taste Prokopec from Serbia, one of the flagship grapes in the country, which I was very honored to discover in numerous versions during my stay here. Why? Because it's a very fine grape variety that can get a lot of red fruit aromas, very primary and very youthful aromas, completed by flowery notes, even faded flowers and faded aromatics, things like laurel, like the French garrigue we can find in south of France. Beautiful bell pepper, but on the ripe side, very gourmand. So all these flavors are quite primary and very light volatiles that can get into this aromatic chamber up to this chimney that can focus all these perfumes, these fragile perfumes to our nostrils. Although the chalice is quite long, it has a very good surface of contact, which can oxygenate the wine, because Prokopec is a variety that can be a bit wild, a bit meaty in its primary youth, so it can easily get some breath out of this glass without really shocking it, without needing to decant. On the palate, what I like with a Revelap soft 40 centiliter glass is that for this type of refreshing medium to medium plus bodied wines, you really get all the sensations of freshness, because your head goes a little bit backwards because of the height of the chalice. So the wine will penetrate on the regions where you feel more or less the acidity. So you'll get all this salivating acidity out of of the character of the varietal. Tannins can be a bit firm and tight in the youth. So this is interesting because it's the character of the grape, and you perceive them so with this kind of chalice and inclining your head backwards. But it's interesting because it's a wine which is made to enjoy at the table with gastronomy, with savory meats. For me, pork meat is a very good company, let's say a pork belly just under the salamander, grilled a bit and really crunchy on the top and smooth in the interior with some baked potatoes. That would be fine to smoothen the tannins. The glass provides a lot of enjoyable aromas in the aftertaste because of this steam of wine which is linear, which is lean on the palate, focusing down to the aftertaste. So I think for this kind of wines that have a great potential for aging, that can also be enjoyed young and fresh, salivating, anyway with a beautiful backbone, this kind of glass is perfect.
Thank you very much.
I will go to the intense. The intense glass, which is a 45 centiliter capacity. And I've chosen to taste a Cabernet from Serbia because it's another grape which has a real signature, even though it's an international variety. So I've chosen the intense glass, the 45 centiliter glass, because of its higher capacity. So this kind of wines usually can be put in a decanter to breathe, to let them open more before tasting them. With this glass, you can put them in the decanter without getting the thermic inercy, because this kind of Cabernet from quite, let's say, continental regions where they get fully ripeness, long ripening cycles, they can also have quite full body character thanks to the alcohol. They usually get easily to 14 degrees of alcohol. So if you put them in a decanter, you can easily get them warmer than directly in the glass. So I choose to put it directly in the glass, choosing this large surface of contact, which is specific to the intense range. Having very smooth breathing for the wine, not getting it warm too easily. At the same time, we'll have a chalice which is a bit lower than for the soft chalice. This is interesting for wines that are developing or fully developed. You can also taste young wines for the purpose of aerating, letting them breathe. But when you have wines that are developing, which is the case for this Cabernet, you get the more heavier aromas, not the first primary volatile aromas, which was the case for the Procopats. You'll get all the oaky secondary notes, all the beginning of tertiary and tertiary if it's a fully developed wine. So this is interesting with lower chalices. We also have the chimney, just like the older range of Revilap. The chimney is inspired by spirits glasses, where you want to lower the filling of the alcohol. It's the case for Revilap too. And this is the case, the specific case where the chimney is very important, because if you have a wine with an elevated quantity of alcohol, you want to lower it, not to focus it into your nostrils, and this is the purpose of the chimney. So when you put your nose inside and you let the wine breathe, you get all the signature of the Cabernet, which I remarked in Serbia, which is very pulpy, very ripe, providing black currants, really ripe and juicy black berries, combined with balsamic and minty notes, bit of eucalyptus, a sign of ripeness, of fully ripeness. Beautiful secondary notes come forward because of this breathing. They come along in layers with spiciness specific to the oak and tobacco, as well as some chocolate. So this is the advantage of a large surface of contact and the lower chalice. As you taste it on the palate, you remark that I don't get my head really backwards as with a soft glass. So it's a little less inclination on the intense glass. This provides me a very ripe attack, a very full attack, which is very good for this kind of wine, where you perceive all the texture, all the layers of velvety texture, mouthfeel that are provided both by the body and the elevated alcohol level. On the palate, it's looking so smooth, and the tannins are getting surrounded by the texture. You perceive, of course, the generous alcohol, but it's so spicy and just thermic, not aggressing you. Yeah, and I think the interest is to serve both fully developed and developed wine. So this is a developing wine. You can also taste it in a few years in this kind of glass.
So actually for lunch or dinner, we just need 2 glasses?
Yeah, you just need 2 of them.
Thank you, Julia. You're perfect.
Thank you so much.